Week 9 of the Cardinal Report's winter season is upon us. Welcome, I'm Charlie Edward. The women's basketball team, as well as the wrestling team, join us later. But first, a quick look at other happenings in NCC athletics. Track and field last chance qualifiers at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. For the men, Femi Oyuwale took the top placement for North Central. He finished second in the high jump thanks to his clearance of 6 feet 8 inches. And Brent Gaither took third in the 3K, dashing in at 8 minutes 29.99 seconds. But it wasn't enough to get him into the national meet. However, the men will be represented by Giuliano Lodi in the mile run. The 5K will feature Travis Morrison, Ben Dashinsky, Tim Vasquez, and Ken Hoffman. Morrison also competing in the 3K, and Aaron Sabat joining him there. Sabat will also run in the distance medley along with Matt Muth, Mustafa Olaoye, and Richie Rusk. Last but not least, Luke Winder taking center stage in the pole vault as the #1 qualifier. At the last chance qualifier, Madison Renfro starred for the women. She won the 60-meter hurdles after turning in a new personal best of 8.67 seconds, a time which also breaks her own North Central varsity record. While Renfro was breaking records, Miranda Rohrer was coming close. 7.78 seconds in the 60-meter dash was good for second in Cardinal history and third overall. Liz Composto took a first-place spot too, her winning clearance 12 feet 2 inches. Composto will compete in the pole vault at Nationals. Megan Costanzo, she'll be there too, as she qualified for the 5K. And Madison Renfro, she'll try her hand at the 60-meter hurdles. Okay, a jam-packed show ahead. Michelle Roof and the women's basketball team join us fresh off its trip to the NCAA D3 Big Dance. And later, Joe Norton and the wrestling team in for a chat. You're watching the Cardinal Report. We're joined now on TCR by the head coach of the women's basketball team at North Central, Michelle Roof. Michelle, nice to see you.
Good to see you, Charlie.
And you are fresh off a CCIW tournament where you didn't win all the games, but you beat Elmhurst and you kept it pretty close with Layten.
Yeah, we did. You know, going into the Elmhurst game, we knew it was going to be a tough battle. We'd played them the week before and, didn't play real well. They beat us, pretty good at their place. We knew that emotions would run high. Potentially, being the last game for our seniors. And going into the game, it was definitely a must-win game. We kind of knew that. But went in, played really well, played real tough against Elmhurst. They got a little bit of a lead in the first half, but I thought that we played one of our best, most intense games all year. Came out with that, emotional win, and then turned around and played a great game against Layten, too. I had a lot of chances to close out on them, but just didn't shoot the ball quite well enough, I think, to pull off the big upset. But overall in the tournament, conference tournament, I thought we had a really good weekend.
But with the loss to Layten, you had to rely on getting the at-large bid. I know you're a little bit of a worrier. I mean, you're laid back for the most part, but you're a realist. Were you worried at all going into the selection show?
I don't know if worry, is quite the word that I would use. I don't think I slept, actually, until the end of the Layten game, up until the selection show. I was all over the web just researching the criteria and how other teams were doing. I stayed up all night the night before watching, the mock selection show on D3 Hoops. And when I found out, they had us placed as, a team that was above the bubble, that was in, it was just a matter of where we were going. I felt a little bit better, but until our name was called up on that, on the screen, I was a little bit worried. And
you got to make the big trip to UW Oshkosh to play them.
Yes.
Overall, you lost the game a lot due to fouling and offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
In your mind, what did the game come down to?
I think that we had such an emotional weekend the weekend before in the CCIW tournament, and coming off of that, I felt that we came in and lacked a little bit of the energy, a little bit of the kind of the intensity that it takes to play real effectively in our system. We just didn't come out as hungry in that game as we had leading up through the CCIW. And so, we didn't play real well. One of our key stats is offensive rebounding. And at the half, we didn't have one player with an offensive rebound after, leading the nation most of the year. So just didn't execute real well. Just didn't bring, the type of energy and intensity that helped us be successful all year long. Pretty disappointed in that, but ultimately, you can't really complain. We had a great season.
In the postgame, you seemed upset about the lack of offensive rebounding and maybe the lack of effort, but when it comes down to it, you got to be happy with the fact that you got to make a trip to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and you made it all the way to the tournament. Yeah,
absolutely. It's just tough to end a season wishing that we could get one back, and I think the UW-Oshkosh game was one that we all after the game wish that we could just go play another 40 minutes again because we know that we would do things differently. I felt like that was the first game this season that I really thought we had the better team and, just didn't perform as well as we would have wanted to. But looking back on the season, a lot of great times. We had a good time last weekend, and it was a great opportunity to just spend a little bit more time together with the seniors, kind of, celebrating this year.
With making the trip to Grand Rapids, and I mentioned how fun that can be, but at the same time, you get there and that stadium was beautiful in Grand Rapids. But you know what? How much of the lack of effort maybe might come from everyone being so awed by the grandeur of the spectacle?
Well, I kept getting that question, were they nervous? Were they nervous? And I don't know if it was that so much. The stadium, the arena was awesome. We were treated so well, right from the start of our road trip and really taken care of. But you go to a venue that big and, you expect the emotion, surrounding it that you're going to get, in a CCIW tournament. And it was just a little bit different feel, I think not having a rivalry with UW-Oshkosh at that point in the season, may have taken a toll, but I just felt like we really weren't completely understanding of what we were playing for, and that's probably something that I could have done a little bit better, the week leading up to it.
But what can't be your fault is Goddard and Cooney fouling out with 5 minutes left in the game. You lose your arguably two best players for the final stretch of the game. How much does that affect the way everything turned out in the end?
Well, the whole game was like that. We don't ever want to foul. We don't ever want to foul and stop the clock. And one of the things that we talk about all the time is just playing clean, keeping the game moving and staying out of foul trouble. We haven't been in foul trouble all year long. And I just thought we were a little bit sloppy, a little bit undisciplined, which is very uncharacteristic of us defensively. Again, we just didn't play our best basketball, not even close, on Friday night.
For you personally, I've always said it, probably your best season as a coach.
Yeah.
But even in your best season, you're always learning new things. Looking back on everything that happened this year, what's the one thing you can take away and say, this is the best thing I learned this year?
I just had such an amazing experience with this group of players. The camaraderie and just the teamwork, the chemistry on this team was just something to really go through and make sure that we enjoyed the process throughout the way. And, the wins just kept coming, and we're almost like kids in a candy store, The expectations weren't necessarily there at the beginning of the season. So to just perform and play so well and be in the position that we were in, it was exciting for everybody, coaches and players alike.
And the tough part of your job now is finding a replacement for Tess Goddard, your leading scorer. That's going to be difficult this offseason, but now you have a little more downtime and plenty of time to get to that. Any plans for replacing your leading scorer?
Well, Tess brings so much more than points, She brings intensity and energy and a desire, that's really tough to find, and a passion about playing basketball. So, we've been out there, we're scouring, the state, the Midwest to try to find that special player to come in. And I think we've got some potential there. But replacing Tess is gonna be a really tough process. Just recruiting, getting after it, and making sure that we come back strong next year because, we've got a little bit of a bitter taste in our mouth after that last game, and we're ready to get out there and kind of avenge, Friday night already. So looking forward to that.
But hopefully you can enjoy your off season and relax a little bit now. And
yes.
I wish you the best of luck in doing that.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, coming up, seniors Bobbi Johns and Marissa Cladis to reflect on their outstanding North Central careers. This is the Cardinal Report.
Waddle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
With us now on TCR, Bobbi Johns and Marissa Cladis. Guys, nice to see you.
Thanks for having us.
Bobbi, I'll start with you on this question. Coming off the trip to Grand Rapids, Michigan, the game went pretty well. I thought you guys played a good game, but overall it came down to some foul trouble. What was the cause for the foul trouble? Increased urgency?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I just feel like we went into this game, we really didn't know anything about them. We knew they were a little bigger than us, and I just feel like coming off the 3-hour bus ride, I feel like we were really anxious. And so I think that definitely played a part in it. But yeah, definitely our fouls got the best of us. And usually we don't foul as much. Some games we have less than 10, and like that's a great game for us. But I just feel like we kind of went in there and we weren't really focused on that, and we kind of played out of control in some plays. So yeah, that was definitely a factor. And
Marissa, first tournament trip for the team since '83, '84. So that had to play into it too, huh?
Yeah. I just think it was a whole new atmosphere. Like, obviously, making it to the CCIW tournament is just, like that in itself was awesome for us. But I think, especially playing on the floor that they played the championships at, like going into that gym, it's huge. It's nothing like we've ever experienced before besides Tess, as she went downstate in high school. But I think just like the atmosphere in general, and like Bobbi said, the anxiety and the readiness to play, it just got the best of us.
Bobbi, with losing Goddard and Cooney at the end of the game, did that add to the difficulty of finding your offensive stride with 5 minutes left?
Yeah, I think that definitely played a part in it because, I mean, they do have such a strong factor to the team. And, I mean, with the finishing group, they're two of the people in the finishing group. So it definitely plays a part. And I feel like maybe that affected some players on, like, what are we going to do without Tess and Jamie in there? Tess, one of our better players. I feel like with 5 minutes left, people were worried about it. So.
But offensively, Marissa, you were a bright spot in the game with 14 points total. Would you say you were happy with the way you played?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm happy, but it's not really about individual goals for me. Like, I just try and step in the role that I can, and I'm just more upset that we knew we could win that game and we knew we were the better team, and just little mistakes got the best of us. And I don't think as a team we came out ready to play like we normally do. So even though I was happy with that being my final game, it obviously wasn't the outcome that I was hoping for.
But despite losing the game, I mean, when it comes down to it, you look back on it, you'll enjoy the memory of the bus rides and the camaraderie with your teammates. But as a senior, Bobbi, does it add to the experience knowing it was your last time? I mean, maybe you make that trip when you're a sophomore and you don't enjoy it quite as much.
Yeah, it definitely adds to, I say, the experience. Going out as a senior, making the NCAA tournament when we haven't for the past 30 years, it's great. I couldn't have asked for a better senior year. And so just even though it was a tough loss because we could have won that game, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better ending to the season because we did make the tournament and no one saw us making it since the beginning. We were predicted to get 6th in conference. We made the championship tournament of conference, and then we make it to the NCAA tournament. So it was a great experience overall.
Marissa, in the post-game press conference, you said, "This is a new chapter for me moving forward." Mm-hmm. Do you know what the chapter might hold, or is it something that's unplanned at this moment?
There's a couple ideas that I have going around. I'm going to keep that to myself right now because I'm still undecided, but I will definitely be sticking around and be at the games next year and hopefully for the next couple of years to support our team since we were so close this year.
Bobbi, are you allowed to talk about your future?
Yeah, I can. Well, I'm going for teaching, so I hope to get an elementary teaching position out here in Naperville and possibly coach. So it's definitely something I'm interested in.
And that was something from sitting on the floor during the game. You know, watching you from the sidelines, it just seemed like you're someone who was used to directing your teammates and kind of directing traffic on the floor. So I'm not surprised to see you're interested in coaching.
Yeah, I'm very interested. Just over the past few years, like as a freshman, I learned from the previous captains like how to lead and be a team leader, and so I feel like I just kind of took on that role as a junior and as a senior. And I've played basketball since I could remember, and that's definitely something I want to pursue as a coaching career.
All right, finally, this is a question we hit on with all seniors. You look back and you want to know your favorite memory from your career. We'll start with you, Marissa.
Actually, even though this was an amazing season and making the tournament was amazing, my favorite memory was last year in one of our first games. We went to St. Mary's, Indiana to play, and it was a close game. We weren't playing our best, and in the final seconds, I hit the game-winning shot to win. So that was just something that was really cool for me, because coming from high school, I never was that go-to player, and then here, obviously, it could be anyone, but it was just really special to me that I was able to do that.
Bobbi?
Oh gosh, on the spot. I would have to say, from a team aspect, mine would have to be when we beat Wesleyan for our first conference game this year. Just because in the past it's been such a battle with them, and beating them for the first time in quite a few years last year, it was exciting. So just to come back this year and beat them, the first game in conference, was definitely special to me.
All right, well, best of luck to both of you moving forward with coaching, teaching, and Marissa, whatever it is you have planned.
Thanks.
All right, coming up, we switch gears and welcome in the head coach of the wrestling team, Joe Norton. You're watching TCR.
Every proper bear knows that the right fit means everything. Especially when it comes to car seats.
Oh, really? I just did what any bear would do.
So know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size.
I like it.
To learn more, visit safercar.gov/the-right seat.
Oh, hello there. Oh,
Where's that bear?
We welcome now to the set the head coach of the wrestling team, Joe Norton. Joe, nice to see you.
Thanks for having us.
And you have one more meet coming up, Nationals, but overall, pretty much everything in the books now. With the season behind you, how did you feel overall about the way things went this year?
I think they went well. I think we, accomplished a lot of the goals that we put on the board at the beginning of the year. We were able to circle a lot of those and put a star next to them as accomplished. So I think overall it's pretty good.
Well, how about we recap the CCIW championships? You're third of four, but you saw Mahler and Binion finish first in their weight classes.
Yeah, finished third. The most points we've scored at the CCIW tournament in 3 years. We finished fourth 3 years in a row. Obviously having two champs is good. You were hoping for four or five, but it's good for Mahler to get that championship as a senior and for Layten to get his second one. So now he stays on pace to win four.
And you had the Midwest Regional Championships too, 7th and 12th. What went right there?
A lot of things went right. Some things didn't quite go our way. Nathan Segal did a tremendous job. He just went out there and did what we knew he was capable of doing. And a couple other guys, we won some big matches that we knew would be toss-ups, but we lost some others as well, and that's why we ended up with 2 instead of 4 or 5 going to nationals.
Were beating Elmhurst and Wheaton kind of bright spots of your season? You got that big 33-9 win over Elmhurst in February.
Yeah, those are definitely big wins. Going into the season, you're hoping that you can win those duels, but winning 33-9 against Elmhurst is big. They've put up 30 points on us the past few years, so to go ahead and give it right back to them was good. And winning a tight one against Elmhurst or against Wheaton was a great one too. That was only a couple points that we didn't really know, who's going to win that duel even minutes before it started. So to win that one was good as well.
What was the bright spot of the whole season? I just mentioned February, but it was a long season. Where'd you find your most happiness?
I think the bright spot was when Nathan got the pin in the semis last weekend to qualify for nationals. I think that was something that we all knew that he'd worked so hard to get to, and to have him go out there and do it, it's sort of like a relief to have him finally get there.
I mentioned most of the season behind us now, but still got nationals coming up. That's the big one. What are your expectations moving into that?
I think we should have 2 All-Americans. I think both of them can do it. They're certainly talented enough, and they've worked hard enough to make it happen. So now it's just going out there and scoring points and winning matches.
Does Layten Binion have more potential to reach in the second half of his career? Because he's been so good through his freshman, sophomore campaigns, and now you still have a whole half to go with this guy.
Yeah, he's still getting better. He came in tremendously talented and started accomplishing things and winning matches right away. But he hadn't won the big ones yet, and now he's starting to do that. Finally getting to nationals. Now I think when we get him on the All-American podium, it's going to catapult him even further for his last 2 years.
I have a funny name for you I'm going to bring up. Remember Jake Oster?
Yeah.
0-11 against him in your career, and you had an amazing career, so there's no slight there, but everyone's got a guy that, he's got your number. And 0-11 against him, but recently we saw one of your wrestlers, Nathan Segal, who was able to get over Elroy Perkin. Were you able to say anything to Nathan that, in your experience with Jake, that helped you get him over the hump?
Nothing really any different. My coaches had always told me that I could beat Jake Oster, even after the 10th time that I lost to him. And I think that Nathan believed that as well. I think Jake Fredrickson helped out with that a little bit, having coached Perkin last year when he was at Whitewater and wrestling with Nathan every day and letting him know he's no different, and he's certainly someone that can be beat. So I think he went in there confident and he just got the job done.
Speaking of guys who built their confidence, Dylan Mahler, he's a guy who really turned his career around under you at NCC. Is there anybody we can look forward to on the roster right now who may have the talent to uncap that might turn his career around moving forward?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, which is good. I couldn't even pick one or two to name, but a lot of freshmen and sophomores that we have. Matt Marcotte was the guy this year that made a lot of tremendous progress second half of the season. Brandon Malone, some of those guys that are freshmen. Some guys aren't even in the lineup right now, like Justin McGady, and some guys people wouldn't even know about that I think will make a name for themselves coming up here soon.
You were at Knox last year, this year, whole year under your belt now at North Central. Were you a lot more comfortable throughout the year, especially now that you got this whole year under your belt, looking back on it? What are the differences between coaching at Knox and now North Central? You had a whole year now. Were you happier?
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, winning is one thing that we did a lot more of when I was at North Central, but just feeling back home and being around the place where I had become the wrestler and the coach that I am, and being able to coach guys that are in similar situations to where I was not too long ago, I'm certainly more comfortable and just happier to be here than I was there, yeah.
And in being happier, I'm sure you were able to learn a little bit more about the actual art of coaching. Through this season, what's the biggest thing you took away?
That anybody can qualify for the national tournament. We saw, obviously, Segal being an 8 seed, but other people, in the 125-pound bracket, the finals was the 5 seed and the 7 seed. So guys that work hard all season long, and it doesn't matter really what your record is. Anybody that believes that they can go out there and qualify for the national tournament can do it. And it's fun to see when kids do that. And
finally, what is it that your guys need to do to get over the hump at nationals?
Really, they just have to keep doing what they're doing right now. For Layten, it's going out there and scoring points and knowing that nobody can stop him. Nobody can really stop his offense. And for Segal, it's believing that nobody can really score on him and nobody's got a better gas tank than him. So if we push guys and we get them out of their comfort zone, we can beat anybody.
All right. Well, good luck to you there.
Thanks a lot.
All right. National qualifiers. Nathan Segal and Layten Binion are next. Don't go away.
Today is Saturday. 60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
Joined now by Nathan Segal and Layten Binion. Guys, a couple of national qualifiers, so you have to be happy to be here right now to be able to talk about that, huh?
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And let's get into that. But first, let's also get into the way the whole season went down. You had a lot of a chance to look at your strengths and weaknesses throughout the year. Overall, evaluate the way things went in the 2014-2015 campaign. Layten.
Going along with strengths and weaknesses, I think this year I did a lot better job of managing my weight because I went from 133 to 141. Weaknesses in certain matches this year, like for instance, the semis of the regional tournament against Cody C, kind of just hold back and don't really get on my offense and wait around until the guy gets in on a shot and scores on me.
I was thinking, it's funny you mentioned Cody C because looking back on that match, it seems like it was probably one of your closest matches this season. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. Just because, like I said earlier, just kind of waited around, like the first 20 seconds of the match, I took him down. Then after that, I kind of didn't do anything and just coasted and just waited.
So that match was awfully close, but overall, it seemed like a season you can say is pretty satisfying for you.
Yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty satisfied. But looking back on it, I got a couple losses that I shouldn't have had just because I wait around and don't get on my offense. Because when I'm on my offense, really, like Joe said earlier, no one can stop me.
Last time you were on, Nathan, you called yourself the hardest worker in the nation. At the time, under the radar, and that's why you mentioned it. And now you're sitting here again, and you've qualified for nationals. You've got to feel great.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Got a couple more goals to accomplish this weekend, though.
And what would those be?
Be a national champ.
And what do you have to do to be a national champ?
Just continue doing what's been working this past weekend, and just like pretty much put my mindset like it's in practice. Just don't hold anything back. Like, I'm a senior, so this is it for me.
How much does the strength of your schedule this season have to do with the fact that you've really burst onto the scene? Because last year, 33-15. This year, only won 22 times, but now you're a national qualifier. Is it because you had to wrestle a lot more impactful wrestlers?
I think this year we it wasn't as like we didn't go to as many tournaments, but we wrestled the quality wrestlers. So I was seeing good wrestlers every weekend, where I was tight matches. Where last year we went to a couple like not so great tournaments where you would get 5-6 wins in a weekend, and it's just the difference in the season.
Who are some wrestlers we should keep an eye out for at nationals outside of North Central?
Guys like Cody Lote from Messiah. He's been ranked #1 all year. I wrestled him at the Pete Wilson in the semis. It was 1-1 with like 20 seconds left, and he kind of rushed in and got on his offense and took me down, and I ended up losing 6-1. But I mean, everybody's tough at the national tournament.
Nathan, a guy you've always had your eye on, Elroy Perkin. He's always kind of had your number, but you finally got a win over him. That had to feel good, but what did it take to finally beat him? It was a close one too, 7-6.
I think the biggest thing was just I gave him too much credit back like the past couple times, and this time I just really believed like I was going to beat him. And the last match I wrestled him in, like I took him down in the first period, and then he kind of just like went to work on top on me. So then I kind of just like I know I can take him down, and I've seen other people beat him, so I just kept telling myself like he's beatable, like no one's unbeatable.
Layten, you had a 4-1 day at regionals. Out of all those matches, what do you think you can take from them that might help you moving forward in the nationals?
Like I've just been preaching the whole time, is just stay on my offense and not let guys breathe and push the pace and not worry about what they're going to do versus what I'm going to do.
Are you guys excited moving in the nationals, or is there a sense of nervousness?
I mean, it's more excitement than nervousness. Like, I have nothing to lose this weekend. I'm coming in as an underdog, so I'm ready to show everyone what I'm capable of doing.
But Layten, you have 2 years left in your career, so maybe not as much worry?
No, not as much worry. My worry was all eliminated at the regional tournament. After I qualified, it's just I'm ready to go. All
right, well, we'll be watching you guys and hoping for the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for being on. Nationals take place in Hershey, Pennsylvania, starting March 13th. For all the latest, follow at NCTV17 or log on to NorthCentralCardinals.com. Thanks for watching. This has been the Cardinal Report.